After 35 years at Channel 5, Natalie Jacobson announced she is leaving. She made up her mind several months ago, but made the emotional announcement to the staff this week.
I am not retiring. I am definitely not done yet. But it is time to move on. I need a new challenge.
And with that, Natalie Jacobson will sign off the air for the last time next Wednesday at 6. She will anchor solo that night, something she had been doing until management added co-anchor Ed Harding in March.
The world has changed, television has changed, and my role at Channel 5 had really been reduced to a few minutes of reading the 6 o'clock news.
And so an era ends. Since 1972, Natalie has been reporting and anchoring newscasts at Channel 5, for most of that time with Chet Curtis. Chet and Nat, now divorced, own the airwaves, especially for live coverage of major events.
We are back with our live coverage of the royal visit.
Nat's departure is bittersweet. She's excited about launching a new internet venture, but the news business she so loved just isn't what it used to be. In an interview several months back, former Channel 5 news director Jim Thistle predicted change was in the wind and said no one will ever be like Nat.
Natalie has been a role model to a great many women over the years. She's a true professional. She's a solid journalist. She's been a mother involved with the community, the charities, with the cultural events. She's been the Madonna of live television. She has been the female Walter Cronkite, if you will, of the Boston market.
So what will this female Walter Cronkite miss most about being Channel 5's broadcaster of record?
I loved bringing my neighbors, our community, our fellow citizens into our tent of information and making it work for them. And I miss that a lot. I know I'm going to miss that.
And we are going to miss you. You know, I know there's a lot of sensitivity over at Channel 5 about some of the things Natalie has said, and she said some of the things here when she was on the set the other night. But really, I think the bigger message is that she's talking about the quality of the news. I don't think Natalie is lamenting the past. I know I don't lament the past. For heaven's sakes, a lot of the things that we did in the 70s and 80s was a little bit foolish, frankly. We traveled all over the world. We're going to Japan. We once went to Germany to do a sidebar to the winds of war. I mean, we would have been doing a Beat the Press about that now. So it's not that. It's that there has been a dumbing down, and that's a phrase that she's been using for more than a decade, by the way, of the news. And that's what she laments, not the past.
There's also no more tent. I mean, she talks about, bringing everybody into the tent, the community into the tent. There isn't a tent anymore. It's like this carnival midway at this point. And there's just so much more media now that you can't get the kind of influence, I don't think. I think it's very hard to get that kind of influence anymore in a community because of the number of choices out there. I mean, there was sort of a focus that you could have in the past, and now it's just so fractured and so scattered at this point that I don't think you can ever, I'm not sure that anybody could ever be in that position again. I'd be surprised if they were.
Well, the media right now in general is in panic mode. People are desperate to try to retain viewers, try to retain readers. But I hope that, first of all, Natalie Jacobson leaving, now, it's incredible that after such a long career, she leaves with such a distinguished, persona, such stature still in the media after so many years is incredible. But I hope that television, local TV, doesn't get away from the sort of the big anchors, the anchors that people know and go there every night to watch. In the same way we've talked about columnists at newspapers, it's really, we hear so much about original content. An anchor that's recognizable, is well known, that is original content for a television newscast. Same with the columnist for newspapers, that's recognizable. So I hope that we don't see the generation pass that we do, the model, the model of solid anchors. I mean, do you see Channel 25 now, despite the fact David Wade's left, they've tried to market Maria Stefanos as a solid anchor. People go there to watch her.
Who's the Channel 7? Who's the face of Channel 7?
I don't know. You're right. I mean,
and I say
many of them are
Francis Rivera. There you go.
Right, but many of them are interchangeable. But I hope that changes.
Somebody who didn't grow up here was asking the other day, what is it about Natalie? I mean, thought good anchor, but he didn't quite get what the mystique was. And I think that a lot of this, sadly enough, is about the past. And that is, she still is, a very hard-working, capable anchor, but she really came into her own at a time when Channel 5 was considered maybe to have the best local newscast in the country. When local newscasts were a bigger deal than they are now, when they had much bigger audiences than they do now, bigger ambitions than they do now. So I think that when we see Natalie Jacobson say that she's not going to be an anchor anymore, that is an indication that this era that we knew and kind of, had a great deal of affection for really is gone, and she is one of the last symbols of that. And by the way, let's not forget, she leaves #1 in the ratings. You can't beat that.
Good way to go.
Well, I think I can answer your friend's question about why was she so popular here. She was ours. Yeah. And this region, the greater Boston area, New England, we're big on tradition and on getting to know someone and on long-term relationships. And, this is not exclusive to our region. In many or most major cities, there's an individual like this, a columnist, a TV anchor, whose popularity just transcends the normal shelf life within their profession. And it's often hard to define exactly why. I always found her to be a model of calm and cool, no more so than when she didn't flinch at all when Dr. Silber started barking at her, which is a formidable sight to see still to this day. So, I wish her well, and I wouldn't worry so much about have we lost the past, this uncertain future. It'll all come out in the wash, I think, and there are others who you may look up in another 5-10 years and say, hey, that's the Natalie Jacobson of today. I think I work with one of them, Jack Williams, but we'll see.
Well, but he is of that era.
Yeah.
I mean, so we're talking about somebody who's 20, 30 years younger.
Well, and Chet Curtis can still be seen on New England cable news doing substantive stuff.
If there's anybody in the wings who's going to take that kind of stuff.
There will be anchors who were just as capable as Natalie Jacobson. The question is the dumbing down that she so frequently criticized, is that going to stop and be reversed? That I don't know.
And will television stations and news directors make the strategic decision to go back to that kind of branding on their newscast and not just have interchangeable anchors and not that same connection?
I think you're already seeing it.